Most of us treat a lingering cough or a bit of morning phlegm as a minor annoyance, a simple byproduct of aging or a change in the seasons. But beneath the surface, your lungs are fighting a quiet battle that determines how you will breathe for the next 3 decades. As we cross the threshold of 60, the natural elasticity of our pulmonary tissues begins to shift, and the mechanism responsible for clearing mucus becomes less efficient. This isn't just about comfort, it is about the structural integrity of your respiratory system. Left unaddressed, chronic mucus buildup creates a breeding ground for inflammation that can permanently scar the delicate air sacs known as alveoli. Today, we are moving beyond the surface-level advice. We are diving into the physiological reality of lung aging and the specific natural protocols you must implement now to ensure that every breath you take in your later years is deep, clear, and effortless. Your lung strength is your life force, and it is time we started protecting it with the clinical seriousness it deserves. To understand why mucus becomes a threat after 60, we have to look at the mucociliary escalator. This is a biological conveyor belt lined with microscopic hairs called cilia that wave in unison to move debris out of your airways. In a younger body, this system is vigorous and relentless. However, as we age, these cilia can become sluggish, and the mucus itself often becomes more viscous and difficult to transport. When mucus sits stationary in the lower lobes of the lungs, it thickens, forming a physical barrier that prevents oxygen from reaching your bloodstream efficiently. This stagnation doesn't just make you tired, it triggers a low-grade immune response. Your body sends white blood cells to the area, which eventually leads to the release of enzymes that can break down healthy lung tissue if the clog isn't cleared. This is why that smoker's cough, even in non-smokers, is a red flag for lung remodeling. We must intervene by thinning these secretions and manually assisting the body's natural drainage pathways before the damage becomes irreversible. The most fundamental tool in your arsenal for lung health is surprisingly simple yet frequently misunderstood: systemic hydration. Think of mucus like biological glue. When you are even slightly dehydrated, that glue becomes an industrial-strength adhesive. For those over 60, the thirst mechanism often dulls, leading to chronic subclinical dehydration. This makes the mucus in your bronchial tubes nearly impossible to cough up. By increasing your intake of structured fluids, water infused with a pinch of sea salt or lemon, you are essentially adding a solvent to your internal filtration system. This thins the molecular bonds of the phlegm, allowing those tired cilia we discussed to finally do their job. It's not just about drinking more water, it's about ensuring your mucosal membranes are saturated enough to maintain a slippery surface. Without this lubrication, every other exercise or herb you use will be half as effective. We want to transform that thick, obstructive sludge into a thin liquid that your body can expel with a single, gentle breath. Gravity is an underrated physician. In the medical world, we use a technique called postural drainage to help patients clear their lower lung lobes. Since most of us spend our days upright or sitting, gravity naturally pulls fluid and mucus toward the bottom of the lungs, the hardest place to clear. By safely altering your body's position, you can use gravity to pour the mucus toward the central airways where it can be easily coughed out. For a healthy adult over 60, this might involve lying on a firm surface with your hips slightly elevated above your chest for 5 to 10 minutes a day. This simple inversion allows the stagnant pools of fluid in the lung bases to shift. When combined with deep diaphragmatic breathing, you are essentially performing a manual flush of your respiratory system. It is a practice of patience and physics, ensuring that no corner of your lungs remains a dark, damp corner for bacteria to settle. Always consult with a professional if you have blood pressure concerns, but for many, this is the missing link in daily respiratory hygiene. Many people make the mistake of coughing too violently, which can actually cause the small airways to collapse and trap mucus deeper inside. Instead, we should utilize the huff-cough technique. Unlike a standard throat-heavy cough, a huff cough is a forced expiration with an open airway. Imagine you are trying to fog up a mirror with your breath. You take a deep, slow breath in, hold it for 2 seconds to let the air get behind the mucus, and then exhale sharply with a ha, ha sound. This creates a high-velocity flow of air that grabs the mucus from the walls of the bronchi without the traumatic impact of a traditional cough. It is much less exhausting for the body and far more effective at moving secretions from the peripheral sections of the lungs to the center. Mastering this rhythmic, controlled exhalation is key to maintaining lung strength without straining your rib cage or your heart. It is the professional way to clear your chest, used by respiratory therapists worldwide to keep lungs pristine. What you put in your stomach directly impacts the clarity of your breath. Certain foods act as natural mucolytics, meaning they chemically help break down the structure of mucus. Garlic and onions, for example, contain sulfur compounds that have been shown to reduce the viscosity of phlegm. Even more powerful is the enzyme bromelain found in pineapples, which has potent anti-inflammatory properties specifically for the respiratory tract. On the flip side, we must be wary of pro-inflammatory foods that can trigger excessive mucus production. For many people, dairy and highly processed sugars can thicken secretions, making the biological glue we mentioned earlier even harder to manage. By shifting your diet toward warm, pungent spices like ginger and turmeric, you create an internal environment that is hostile to congestion. These aren't just kitchen staples. They are bioactive tools that keep your blood circulating and your airways open. Think of your spice cabinet as your first line of defense against the seasonal heaviness that so often plagues the lungs of those over 60. The air you breathe is either a medicine or an irritant. In many modern homes, especially during winter months, the air is pathologically dry. This parched air sucks the moisture right out of your respiratory lining, causing your mucus to dry up and crust over the cilia. This effectively paralyzes your lungs' cleaning system. Maintaining a home humidity level between 40 and 55% is crucial for anyone looking to preserve lung strength. A simple cool mist humidifier can make the difference between waking up with a tight, congested chest and waking up feeling clear. For an even more direct intervention, steam inhalation with a drop of eucalyptus or peppermint oil can provide immediate relief. The warm vapor carries moisture deep into the bronchial tree, rehydrating the glue and making it mobile again. It's like giving your lungs a spa treatment. When the environment is right, the body's self-cleaning mechanisms can function at 100%, even as we age. Your lungs don't move themselves. They are moved by the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle sitting right below your ribs. As we age, if we don't use it, we lose the strength of this pump. Most people become chest breathers when they are stressed or sedentary, using only the top third of their lung capacity. This leaves the bottom 2/3, where most of the blood flow and mucus accumulation happens, completely stagnant. Diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breathing, is the exercise that restores lung volume. By consciously pushing your stomach out as you inhale, you pull the diaphragm down, creating a vacuum that fills the deepest parts of your lungs. This mechanical movement acts like a massage for your internal organs and helps squeeze the mucus out of the lower lobes. Strengthening this muscle is the single best way to ensure that you don't lose vital capacity as the years go by. It is the difference between shallow, panicked breaths and the deep, steady respiration of a long-distance runner. Therapeutic steam is a time-honored tradition for a reason. When we introduce botanical compounds like cineol, found in eucalyptus, via steam, we are delivering a natural decongestant directly to the site of the problem. These compounds work by stimulating the cilia to beat faster and by breaking down the chemical bonds of thick phlegm. This is particularly effective before bed. Congestion often worsens at night due to the horizontal position of the body, leading to disrupted sleep and lower oxygen saturation during the most critical time for repair. A 10-minute session of inhaling warm, moist air can clear the pathway for the night ahead. This isn't just about comfort, it's about ensuring that your brain and heart receive a steady supply of oxygen while you sleep. By incorporating these natural vapors, you are utilizing the power of plant chemistry to do the heavy lifting that your body might struggle with on its own. It's a gentle, effective way to maintain an open airway without resorting to harsh chemical stimulants. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they feel congested is reaching for a cough suppressant. While these can provide temporary relief from the sound of a cough, they are often doing more harm than good. A cough is your body's primary defense mechanism. It is the alarm system trying to eject a foreign invader or excess fluid. When you suppress that cough, you are essentially silencing the alarm while the fire is still burning. The mucus stays trapped, the bacteria continue to multiply, and the risk of pneumonia increases significantly, especially for those over 60. Instead of suppressing the cough, we should be using expectorants, things that help the cough be more productive. We want to cough better, not less. By shifting our mindset from stopping the symptoms to supporting the function, we protect the lungs from the long-term damage of trapped secretions. Always aim to clear the chest, not just quiet the noise. Physical activity is the ultimate lung cleanser. You don't need to run a marathon to see the benefits. Even a brisk walk increases your respiratory rate and forces your lungs to expand and contract more fully. This mechanical pumping helps loosen mucus that has adhered to the bronchial walls. Furthermore, exercise increases blood circulation to the lungs, bringing in fresh immune cells to scout for potential infections. For those with limited mobility, even chair yoga or simple arm circles while breathing deeply can significantly improve pulmonary hygiene. The goal is to avoid respiratory stasis, a state where the lungs are so still that fluid begins to settle. By staying mobile, you are telling your body that you still need every square inch of your lung capacity. Movement is the signal that keeps your tissues elastic and your airways resilient against the natural slowing that comes with age. Keep the body moving and the breath will follow. Preserving your lung strength after 60 is not an overnight task, it is a daily commitment to clarity. By understanding the physiology of your breath, from the microscopic cilia to the powerful diaphragm, you gain the power to influence your own aging process. Start with the basics, stay hydrated, master the huff cough, and use gravity to your advantage. These natural methods aren't just home remedies, they are foundational practices of respiratory health that can prevent the downward spiral of chronic congestion and lung weakness. Remember, every deep, clear breath you take today is an investment in your independence and vitality for the decades to come. Don't wait for a crisis to start caring for your airways. Clear the path now, and your lungs will sustain you with the strength and vigor you deserve. Your breath is your most precious resource. Guard it with everything you have.